For a brief period, it appeared to be just another day in the high-stakes world of Atlanta aristocracy as the cameras rolled and the lights went out. Then, however, the unimaginable occurred. Imagine the tension in a room where a hidden sisterhood and 15 years of history suddenly burst into a fire that no music producer could put out. We are discussing a dispute that was supposedly so intense that the entire team was terrified. Social media has completely collapsed due to reports that the boss chick, Rasheeda Frost, and the queen of messiness, Karlie Redd, got into a big physical confrontation that resulted in an unprecedented production halt. The crucial question that has all of the show's viewers holding their breath is whether Love and Hip Hop Atlanta will be officially canceled. There are whispers that VH1 officials are getting close to their breaking point. This isn't your typical reality TV dispute. Rumors of broken glass, shouting that can be heard blocks away, and overpowering security personnel abound in the streets. We've followed the highs and lows of Rasheeda and Karlie's friendship for years. But if these new discoveries are even half as terrible as they seem, the damage might be irreversible. Even if alliances have changed in the past, the show's overall future has never felt more uncertain. Is this story more intricate than it seems? Or is this the end of an era for a town's legends? We are delving further into the flurry of allegations, the purported mayhem behind the scenes, and the startling revelations that raise the possibility of the network's permanent collapse. The information being released about this alleged altercation is nothing short of career-ending. The aftermath has caused the entire ensemble to become more divided than before. So fasten your seatbelt. Keep checking back as we examine the chronology of these absurd charges and reveal the real story behind the headlines. Nobody anticipated that two of the most seasoned individuals in the field would cause the explosion, but the set of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta has long been regarded as a volatile situation. The alleged incident started at what was supposed to be a typical setting at a posh lounge in downtown Atlanta, according to stories going about in the industry, and the frenetic pieces that appeared on gossip blogs. The plan was for Rasheeda and Karlie Redd to have a casual conversation about their long-standing friendship and a few little business issues that had come up throughout the season. Many others involved in the production, however, assert that as soon as Karlie walked into the room, the energy disappeared. Rasheeda grew defensive as soon as it was discovered that she was carrying a stack of paperwork, her signature clumsy tactic. Even the female boss is said to have her limits. Those who have watched the show for over a decade, however, are aware that Rasheeda is typically the one who maintains her composure when everyone else is going crazy. When things got difficult with her own goals, Karlie allegedly accused Rasheeda of not being a loyal friend. The discussion began with passive-aggressive remarks about brand ownership and commitment. The production crew experienced a feeling of dread as the cameras circled them. Witnesses indicate that the conversation veered from business-related matters to highly personal remarks targeting family members and past offenses. In addition to criticizing Rasheeda's moral character as a wife and business magnate, Karlie allegedly rekindled old wounds from the past. In response, Rasheeda reportedly told Karlie that she was tired of the back and forth and the need to generate drama to stay relevant in the ever-changing world of reality TV. The argument soon became so hot that the lounge's background music was drowned out by the loud voices. As the two women stood up and moved closer to each other, production staff could be heard murmuring anxiously behind the monitors. The hostility that only occurs between people who truly know each other's innermost secrets permeated the atmosphere. The alleged physical altercation started at this point, turning from a verbal argument into a desperate struggle for control. According to witnesses, security guards, who were positioned just out of frame, quickly intervened as Karlie abruptly pushed at Rasheeda. According to the allegations, as the situation became out of control, glass broke and chairs were flipped over. After a protracted period of complete chaos, the set was in ruins. Instead of a brief disagreement that could be easily resolved, the executive producers allegedly stormed in and ordered everyone to stop the show and leave the room after the cameras had been rolling for a short moment. A television program became a possible legal nightmare at this point. Rumor has it that the network's immediate aftermath in that Atlanta bar was nothing short of disastrous. Karlie continued her tirade about how she was responsible for the program's current state as several security officers took her from the campus. However, Rasheeda was reportedly encircled by her own squad and appeared extremely upset and irritated by how hot the issue had become. However, the drama didn't end there. The phone started ringing incessantly as soon as the other cast members heard about it. According to reports, Spice, Bambi, and Sierra were attempting to learn the inside scoop on what transpired. Some of them even took sides before the complete narrative was made public. Almost immediately, the cast's division became apparent. Some defended Rasheeda, arguing that her character had been unfairly maligned to create a viral moment, while others claimed that Karlie had reached her breaking point due to the pressure to keep her position on the show. This reported internal fight among the cast is claimed to have led to the network's extreme choice. The video and reports of the venue's destruction revealed the grim reality to the VH1 executives. Drama and tension have been a part of the franchise for years, but this seemed different. It seemed to be an unmanageable liability. According to the allegations, Mona Scott-Young called an urgent meeting with the top executives of the network that evening to determine whether the season could be continued. According to rumors, the legal department voiced concerns about the increased violence and the possibility of lawsuits that may drastically lower output. As a result, it is claimed that an order was issued to cease production permanently. When the crew received a mass email telling them to pack up their equipment and cancel the remaining scheduled shots for the week, everyone was shocked. The cast members reportedly received instructions not to publish anything on social media. But it's hard to keep secrets in reality TV. Fans were worried when they noticed that the regular behind-the-scenes video had stopped. Furthermore, no filming was being done in the city. The idea that something significant had gone wrong was further supported by the network's silence. Fans of DOT began to wonder if this was merely a brief hiatus or if the rumors of the show's complete cancellation were accurate. Because many of the cast members depend on the show for both commercial and celebrity advancement. The emotional stakes are extremely high. Numerous people would lose their main platform if the program failed due to a single debate, which would have a disastrous impact on the Atlanta entertainment sector. When fans began examining the social media activity of the star's close friends and relatives, the story took yet another bizarre turn. Kirk Frost apparently seemed to be under a lot of stress at their boutique and declined to answer questions about his wife or the program's state. But Karlie's followers began making cryptic remarks about the price of being a legend and the industry's attempts to stifle truth-tellers. These unsupported assertions imply that stress has influenced people's everyday lives and penetrated the real world. Legal documentation and restraining orders that would prohibit the two ladies from even being in the same building, let alone on the same cast, are reportedly being created. One of the most important components of the production is lost if they are unable to film together. Because of this, a lot of individuals now assume that the network is perceiving this as a clean separation. The idea is that people might simply relocate or adopt an entirely alternative concept rather than attempting to mend a broken relationship. Fans are divided at the moment. Some want Karlie to be held responsible for her alleged actions, while others believe Rasheeda has been shielded by production for far too long. The discussion about the morality of reality TV and whether or not the quest for viewers has finally gone too far has grown. According to these reports, Atlanta's love and hip-hop scene appears to be in jeopardy. Every day that goes by without a casting update or promotional video, the deafening silence from VH1 makes the cancellation claims appear more plausible. Considering the implications of this for the legacy of these women who have dedicated so much of their lives to the screen is crucial. It's a tragic way for such a long-standing partnership to end. If this altercation was really the last straw, the industry is keeping a careful eye on the situation to see if an official statement will be released or if the show will just disappear into television history. A perfect storm of controversy has been created here in the archives of television history by the confusion of the viewers who have devoted years to these stories, the anger of the producers who had to give up their livelihood, and the sense of betrayal felt by everyone in the room. The influence is undeniable. Whether these rumors of a production shutdown are true or a little overblown, the era of Atlanta's dominance as we know it may be coming to an end with a legacy of some of the most dramatic drama ever captured on camera and a trail of broken friendships. As everyone already fears, everyone is waiting for that one person to speak up and confirm that the cameras have stopped permanently. The network's more significant institutional issue was just the start of the mayhem that broke out in the lounge. The emphasis turned from the physical conflict to the ensuing corporate ramifications. As word went around the industry that production had come to a screeching halt. According to insiders, the network's executives met in private for the next 48 hours to determine whether the franchise could survive such a public relations disaster. The fact that the incident allegedly involved two of the most senior cast members, who are regarded as the cornerstones of the Atlanta brand, was more problematic than the fight itself, because Karlie and Rasheeda's social circles and economic activities are so closely linked to the rest of the ensemble. If they can't cooperate, the entire structure of the show falls apart. According to reports, a number of prominent sponsors have voiced concerns about the increasing violence and threatened to remove their ads. The network doesn't take a strong stance. Consequently, the producers were forced to pick between their stars and their profits. The environment had gotten so poisonous that it was irreversible, according to the internal paper that was purportedly presented to the employees. This brawl was the culmination of years of animosity, not just one. According to reports, the crew, many of whom had been on the program since the first season, felt unsafe and worn out from having to break up fights all the time. The production team reportedly demanded improved security procedures and a shift in the casting direction as a result of this collective reaction. There were serious rumors of a total cancellation at this point. Rather than merely terminating one person, the network began to contemplate starting afresh. Stopping production has a tremendous financial impact because each day of misfilming costs thousands of dollars in lost permits, equipment, rents, and personnel salaries. According to the allegations, the network concluded it would be more economical to just end the current season completely rather than attempt to salvage the remaining programs because the losses were growing so rapidly. The cast members were handling their own internal issues while the corporate headquarters was in a frenzy. The cast felt like a house of cards without Karlie and Rasheeda's relationship, which kept many of the group situations together. According to sources, Spice was especially outspoken about the problem, since she believed that the drama had grown so severe that it was destroying actual lives rather than just entertaining. Rumor had it that the women had a covert group meeting where they debated whether to support the permanent expulsion of certain individuals or to leave all at once. There was a lot of accusing back and forth. Some said that the production team set up the conflict on purpose to increase viewership, only to have it backfire on them. As a result, there was a breakdown in trust between the actors and the producers, making it almost impossible to set up any more dates for filming. Family members' alleged involvement merely fueled the flames. The Frost family reportedly put a lot of pressure on Rasheeda to leave the program permanently, claiming that her frequent involvement in reality TV fights was damaging her standing as a prosperous entrepreneur. Karlie apparently sought legal representation to defend her rights at the same time, arguing that she was being unfairly singled out and used as a scapegoat for circumstances beyond her control. As attorneys started examining contracts and footage to determine who was at fault, the legal repercussions of the purported incident began to outweigh the real entertainment value. A lawsuit may hold the franchise in court for years, making it inappropriate for any network to air. Fans are extremely concerned about the future of their favorite show as a result. Atlanta's streets started to speak louder as the days went by without any official filming. According to reports, the local vendors and venues that typically host the event were informed that their services would no longer be required. The most obvious indication to date that the closure was more than a brief cooling-off period was this absence of activity. The lack of the typical glam crews and camera vans was observed by fans who typically follow the cast's whereabouts. It was unsettling that the usually chatty cast remained silent on social media. On Twitter, there was an odd, heavy silence instead of the customary arguments, as if everyone was waiting for the other shoe to drop. We've been told that the network is currently considering a whole revamp. Some speculate that they might try to start a new spin-off with a younger, less erratic cast, while others think Atlanta's hip-hop and love culture is just too broken to continue in its current form. Although there has long been animosity between the new generation and the old guard, the events involving Karlie and Rasheeda were the clearest indication that the formula would not work. Because many of the fans grew up watching these ladies negotiate their lives, the emotional toll on them is very profound. A physical altercation and a halt in production seem to be a betrayal of the musical journey they have been on for more than a decade. One of the most talked about scandals in reality TV history, every detail about the shattered glass, the shouting, and the executive's behavior adds another element to the narrative. The story of treachery began to spread outside the two women's professional communities. Business partners were reportedly reevaluating their relationships with the celebrities involved out of concern that the bad press could hurt their businesses. The stakes are extremely high because Rasheeda has a multi-million-dollar fashion and real estate business. Her professionalism and sense of class, which she has always worked hard to uphold, could be jeopardized by these reports of a fight. However, even her most devoted followers are questioning whether Karlie Redd's music has finally gone too far. Redd has always been the one to stir things up. There are rumors that she has been cut off from a large portion of the cast and that few people are accessible to answer her calls. Being the seeming enemy in this situation can be lonely, particularly if your livelihood depends on your connections with your co-stars. According to the allegations, there have been multiple attempts at mediation, with producers attempting to persuade the two women to discuss their problems with a therapist. But those initiatives are thought to have been a complete failure. Neither side is prepared to apologize or take accountability for the mayhem. The network feels forced to cancel the show because of this deadlock. When the core relationship is effectively broken, there can be no connection-based series. Since the event created a lot of employment and increased awareness of the city, the environment of uncertainty has put the whole Atlanta entertainment sector on edge. Everyone will suffer if the production is permanently stopped. There is no denying the gravity of the situation. And the reality behind the headlines is that it is becoming far more complicated and terrible than anyone could have predicted when the cameras first began filming all those years ago. From the makeup artists to the local restaurant owners who exploited the performance for publicity. When rumors started to circulate that the network was looking for a completely new talent in other areas, suggesting that the Atlanta chapter would be closed, the situation reached a breaking point. According to insiders, the altercation's violent film has been stored in a vault and is not permitted to be viewed at all since it could result in criminal charges. According to rumors, the level of wrath expressed went well beyond the typical prepared drama we see on television, resulting in a completely destroyed filming setting and the destruction of personal belongings. This actual devastation acted as a metaphor for the franchise's current situation. The cast members apparently had to deal with the concept that their main source of fame and income was disappearing in real time while the executives were calculating statistics and considering possible legal ramifications. Many of the supporting cast members who were just beginning to establish their brands have reportedly been affected by the announcement of the production stoppage because they believe that the veterans' actions have stolen their futures. Resentment in the camp is at an all-time high, and Karlie and Rasheeda are accused of being self-centered for allowing their personal conflict to jeopardize the livelihoods of more than 50 production workers. 50 workers in production. Fans reacted quickly and in a variety of ways when word of the purported cancellation started to circulate online. Hashtags advocating for Karlie to be given another chance or defending Rasheeda's right to protect her reputation were all over social media, but those who are just fed up with the violence seem to be the most outspoken supporters. Some people advised that the show should cease before something worse occurred if the charges were accurate. The network's decision to consider a permanent shutdown was probably influenced by this change in public opinion. Rumor has it that the head offices are attempting to shift away from the typical high-conflict reality television paradigm and toward more aspirational material.